So confused. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Adele Ashley, and I post everything from bullet journaling to books, skincare, makeup, general lifestyle stuff. If it's going on in my life, I am posting some of it on this channel. And whether it's your first time here or your returning subscriber, I am so happy to see you, and I hope you are having a great day. So today I am setting up my May bullet journal spread, and at the beginning of the year, I did tell myself that I wanted to do a little bit more when it came to my journals because I was seeing all these beautiful spreads online, and I was someone who was very definitely just using like pen and paper and not really drawing, not really incorporating other things. So for this one, we are going with books. Uh, I got these sheets of like book paper, I guess you could call it, on Etsy just because I was really struggling to kind of find the time to go to a used bookstore, find a book, that whole thing. So I ended up just buying it off of Etsy. I think I paid like $2 for 50 sheets of paper, so definitely very cheap and cost effective. And essentially all I did was cut the page in half and then glue some of those pages into the cover of my book just to kind of give the appearance that the page is was ripped out of a book, or it's like an old page. And I really love how the page has a little bit of yellowing and kind of just aging around the edge of it. My journal is an A5 size, so it was a little bit bigger than the actual book pages that I got. So was just very careful to make sure that I kind of pasted it in a way that made sense, so it looked as if it was just like a regular space in the book, and continuing on and making sure that the bottom of the page, I was using a bottom section to tape in at the bottom of my first sheet, if that makes sense, just so there's kind of a little bit of continuation with the aging of the color throughout the book. So essentially, after that, I just wrote May on some craft paper, like cardstock that I had, and cut it out so that it is a little bit, again, like ripped from the pages as a header. If you saw my reading journal setup, I used craft paper a lot in it, and that's kind of like what all my headers look like. It's that ripped out paper look to it. So I'm definitely incorporating like parts of my book bullet journal or my reading journal and my and things I've seen and gathered inspiration from online, and just kind of tweaked it a little bit for the month of May. But right away, as soon as I finished this page, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like this spread. It's going to be good. April is still my number one with the cherry blossoms, but I was like, May is turning out to be really, really good. So after that, I got into my month at a glance spread, and I did set this one up a little bit, like very, very slightly differently than how I set up my other ones. So I wrote the calendar a little bit off to the left so that I can, over the course of the month, any events or anything like that, I could write in that little section on the right at the top. And then underneath it, I have my normal sections that I always put in, my focus, 3 things to do this month, as well as my next month section. And I'm actually so excited for the month of May. I'm actually filming this voiceover almost a month in advance. It is just kind of like the end of March right now, but looking forward in the calendar, I have so many fun and exciting things happening in May that I'm just really excited to kind of like get to the spread and start filling it out. I don't have an idea of the 3 things that I'm going to do quite yet, in large part just because, like I said, it's the end of March right now, and a lot of things could happen between throughout April that change what I want to do. But I am just really excited for it. I think it's Mother's Day, it's my mom's birthday is that month. I think I'm just ready for all the good things to come in the month of May, and for it to definitely be spring. So on the right hand side of the page, I just have my habit tracker that I'm setting up. So I am incorporating that page into it, that book page into it again, using two sheets just to give the continuity of a larger size page. And I did figure out that it was easier for me to rip the page ahead of time and then put it into the book as opposed to trying to rip it on the page. So that's what you see me doing there. And then just continuing with like a second sheet of paper. And my habit tracker, I am struggling to figure out what exactly to call it, because I call it habits, but I'm not really tracking my habits per se. So like for the past few months, I've put skincare down, and it's not that I'm trying to build a habit of doing skincare. I'm actually tracking when I use specific skincare. So if I use an active or like retinol, I mark it down, but I do wash my face every day and I'm not marking stuff like that down. So it's just like this weird, like, is habits the right word for it? Should I call it something else? But then so skincare is very niche, but then I have workout, which is not something that I'm trying to do daily, which I guess is a habit. Drinking water, or trying to get 8 glasses of water a day, is a habit. And same is journaling. That could be a habit. So I don't know. We're going to keep calling it a habit tracker for now, but that's kind of just like my internal dialogue. Like, is this really a habit that you're tracking? What exactly is this? I don't know. But we set up our habit tracker a little bit differently this month, just kind of outlining the days. And I really kind of push myself to use all the journal supplies that I have. So using brown Tombow Funusku, as well as the brown, a light brown mild liner just for accents throughout that spread. And then moving on to my content page, I know I said previously, I believe it was last month, about how I felt as if I was getting into a bit of a rut with my setups and was doing the same thing month after month. So going into this month, I really told myself that I wanted to make sure that I did something different on a page, even if it was just like a slightly different way to set something up. It just needed to be different. I didn't want to be getting into that same, like, this is really simple, it's really easy for me to do, it's functional, which is great, but I think that there's many different ways that something can be functional for you, but also creative. So this is the first page that you're going to see that's a little bit different than the other ones that I've done, or I should say very different than the other ones that I've done. So for content, I still included that calendar that I have at the top. In previous spreads, I've been using this little calendar as a Dutch door. It is where I just mark down like when I've posted things across all different platforms. So instead for this one, I included it on the left-hand side of the page with the boxes there for the entire month. I incorporated a lot of that paper into the page as well. So as you saw, I have craft paper in like the bottom right-hand corner. I have some book paper in the middle of the page, and then also adding some in to the top of the page there, the middle on the left-hand side. And really just wanted to decorate the page, but wanted it to still be super, super functional and get everything that I needed done. So I also had the idea of putting these little boxes on the page for create instead of just having it be a running list as it was before, just because the page, looking back at spreads, I noticed that it was very kind of redundant. Like, it was just a list of things that I could do, and I was like, you know what, there's a better way that you could do this. It doesn't always have to be a bullet list. It could be something that's the points could go in like different places and you could still follow it. It just doesn't need to be this like header with a list of things underneath it as it was in prior months. So we'll see how it goes this month. We're going to try it out, and then we will report back to you and let you know for the month of June. And essentially there, needed to double check what I did in previous months, but I have my 4 colors there for the 4 things that I'm possibly posting on. LFE, as you guys hopefully know, is for my podcast. I feel like I have been hiding that for the past few months for you guys, but it is happening. I have a podcast that is coming out in the month of May, which I'm super excited about. I've been working on it for the past few months. And then moving on to my create page, I essentially just, as you can see, wrote create near the top of the page, and then worked on drawing these 3 boxes out for things that I have to create for content for. So I have Instagram, short form content, which, as I mentioned, I am trying to prioritize this year, and then YouTube. And I actually really love how the spread ended up turning out. I love that it kind of covers the page a little bit. I love that there is, the paper goes on the edge. I think my create spread was really, really good, and I'm kind of happy that I pushed myself to try something different. And I wish I could tell you that this setup for my weeklies was perfect, but this one, yet again, my weekly decided to give me a run for my money. I thought I meticulously planned this spread out. I went into it knowing exactly what I was going to do. I wrote those calendars on that craft paper, super, super small, so that it could go in. I had a vision and I knew what I was doing. There was going to be a Dutch door, which is where that this week title is going. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be in the middle. And then as I'm doing this, I'm like, why did you draw the boxes at the top? Because you're about to cut those out. And then I had my work tracker at the bottom, and I was like, oh, this is cute. Then I couldn't figure out the days of the week. I wrote 2 Wednesdays down for some reason. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And then I started writing dates at the top, and then I confused myself. Did I create 2? I did 2. This makes no sense. What is this for? I am so confused. Because you have here. And you have here. What's this for? Like, I still don't know what that was for, to be totally honest. I just know that I wrote down, created 2 sections for the week. So I decided that, kind of spur of the moment, I was like, this week I am grateful for, and it could be a gratitude tracker, which as soon as I wrote it, like almost as soon as that was inked in, I was like, why did you write that? Because I do not use gratitude trackers in my journal. I know a lot of people do, and some people like really find them great just in terms of like something to track. I have a separate journal that I track this in. I don't know why I put it there. Every time I've put a kind of like a gratitude spread in my daily bullet journal, it goes unused. So I was like, girl, what are you doing? But whatever. It's there. Week 1 has a gratitude journal in it, because apparently I cannot plan out my life to, save myself at all. I thought I knew what I was doing. I went into this with all the confidence and quickly was like, that doesn't work. So that is week 1 of my spread. You know what, honestly, sometimes I feel like I need to put like a little tracker to see how many mistakes I make during setup. I had a friend tell me about how she couldn't bullet journal because it is way too like hard, and she's trying to make sure that it's pretty and perfect. And I was like, do you know how many mistakes I make when I do them? Case in point right here. There's whiteout all over my journal. I create a duplicate spread for some reason. I don't even know. But we fixed it for weekly number 2, where essentially I did the same thing. I moved my note section a little bit to the left. I still have to do and create with my posting tracker on the back of that Dutch door. And I essentially made the Dutch door a little bit bigger. So instead of 3 squares for the box for the days, I have 4, and added in a work tracker there. So I essentially just have the 4 colors. I know what they mean for things that I track, and for each day I could just write down beside it what I did for that day, like a quick note about like a keynote for that day. And then I still have my content calendar for Adele Ashley on the side, where I could write down the different things that have been posted or are scheduled for that week, as opposed to the gratitude tracker that is happening in week 1, which I personally would be shocked if I actually use. I ended up liking it for my second weekly spread more than my first one, so that is what I continued doing through the rest of the book. And as you can see, I just included a little bit of like paper accents to the pages. So as you can see, I have craft paper at the bottom of some, and then I have some of that like book paper in there as well. And I think it ended up working out. So that is my May bullet journal setup. If you feel obliged, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm always so happy to have chats with you guys about bullet journaling, life, or just books in general. And, looking at this spread as I do this flip through, I am so happy that I challenged myself to do something a little bit different. I think it really kind of shines through in this, what still should be functional. But we shall see as I ink it over the next month. But yeah, until next time, I hope you guys have a great day.